Okay, got the skid plates on there. They're rough cut. I'm gonna clean up the edges, chamfer these, give them a nice bevel so they're not an edge to catch on, and then straighten the edges up. Right now they're just kind of rough cut, but that's it. I probably will continue one on here to cover this, but I'll deal with that later. But for now, we got the bottom all covered up and it looks really good. As you see, I did it, the main skid here, I did it in 3 pieces. That way this center section can come out in case we need to get to the transmission or whatnot. I'm thinking about maybe routering out this one so this one kind of sits recessed a little bit. But I don't know, I'm not too worried about it. Like I said, I'm gonna chamfer these edges and I give them a nice little bevel. That way they're not catching things, you know. So that's that. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm gonna get into plumbing and wiring. And as you see here, I've got the loom, the old loom kind of tore apart a little bit. I've got some of the covering off of it. Just gonna improve it. There's some wire sizes that I've always wanted to change out and increase. With our bigger fans now, I'm gonna integrate that loom and the relays into it. These are to the new fans. And there's some stuff that we relocated that's different than the other truck, so I need to relocate the loom. So how I'm gonna do that is with rope. I'm gonna use different color ropes and create the loom on the truck with rope, and everything will be labeled, and then I can just lay the rope out and duplicate it with wiring. So it looks like crap right now because I got it all tore apart. And you know, I was kind of figuring out, getting better with it. So I'm waiting on some stuff. I'm waiting on the heat tape and some connector boots for the DTM connectors, and what else am I? Oh, some heat shrink loom tube. So I've got a bunch of that stuff, but I'm gonna need some more and heavier stuff for the engine compartments, fire retardant. So anyway, we'll get into that, and I'm gonna re-loom it. And then the plumbing, I'm gonna start on the fuel lines and the brake lines and all that as well. So it's already tabbed out. Basically, it's just the lines that will be ran, and yeah. So the fuel lines are gonna be hard lined from the fuel regulator all the way back to where the fuel pumps will go, which is right here. And then we'll only have, you know, like a foot on each end of the pressure side and the vent side, return side of hose. So it'll be mostly hard lined, and same with the brake lines as usual. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on. I'm gonna be doing plumbing and wiring. So yep, that's where we're at. So here's the list. This is an assembly list. Went through and yep, that's it. Rear end's pretty much done, just sitting there waiting. And then we're doing plumbing and wiring. There's only a couple things left to do on the chassis. Like, we still have to figure out where to put the jack. But there's lots of room back there. We just gotta figure out where we wanna put it. And I'm still kind of up in the air contemplating whether or not I wanna put actual jacks on it, you know, so we don't have to pull an actual physical jack off the truck. We just hit a lever and lift it up. So now's the time if we wanna integrate them. We'll see, I don't know, we'll see. So, all right, here we go, back at it.
A few moments later.
I decided to go ahead and make a pegboard, a wiring pegboard. Basically, I just took my rope loom that you saw me mock up in the chassis. I laid it out roughly to how kind of the zones, I guess you could say. Like, this is the front bumper, this is the engine bay, that's the main engine harness there. There's the A-pillar, it goes up to the A-pillar. This is the overhead. This all goes to the rear of the truck, fuel pumps, fuel sending unit, all that stuff. This is pretty much the core where the relays go that's where I'm at. I know I said the other loom was pretty much turnkey. I could drop it in, but the more I got to looking at it, I just wasn't happy with it. And I know that I've learned a lot more since building that one. And this one, I'm gonna really try to do a pretty modest level 3 loom with it and just upgrade it, right? Make it better and learn something new along the way. So that's where I'm at. Okay.
One eternity later.
Okay. A little update on where we are with wiring. I didn't film a lot of this just because I've been in and out of the shop doing it. This has taken me like 3 days. I come out here, I work on it for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then I go back in the house and cool off. It's blazing hot until we get the AC units going up out in here. It's really unbearable with these temperatures right now. I think we're gonna be like 113 today, which means I can cool the shop down right now to about 106, 107. And it just sucks. We've got one mini split going right now, and it keeps it at that temperature. If I fire up the big evaporative coolers, it just creates a humid sauna in here, and it's miserable. So anyway, my point is, I just come out here and work on it for a little bit, and then I go back in, and it made filming really complicated and kind of boring. It would have been a time-lapse disaster of a video. So I figured it'd just be easier to show you when it's all done. And here we are. So this is supposed to go right there. Must have popped off. Let me show you what I got going on here. So the pegboard, I don't know if I said this last time, but this is pegboard with 3/16 holes. I bought like 6 sticks of this, like 88 cents, 1/4 inch wood dowel. Fits really snug in there. Nice good fit. And then I use that Loctite Professional Liquid. It bonds wood really well. So as you can see, I trimmed them down to the height I needed, and then I just glue them in. You're not pulling a lot of tension on these, but there's enough that you want them kind of locked in pretty good. This sector here is the front part of the truck. Left front wheel, right front wheel. This is the ECM area that would be under the right portion of the dash. This is the engine bay area. That's what this loom is here. That represents there. This goes to another section of the front engine bay area, our brake pedal light and the wheel well light. And then that's the A-pillar section there. And it runs to the upper cabin area, the roof, right? Where the chase lights are, the navigation antennas, the Starlink, and a rear camera. I'm adding a rear view camera. And then this section here of the loom runs through the cabin under the center console. This is where the relay, everything goes to the relay panel right there. And as it passes through the cabin, these are the trans coolers that are behind the rear firewall. And then it comes through the cabin to the rear of the truck where we have our dual fuel pumps, and then our fuel level sensor for the fuel cell. And these are the rear left and right rocker wheel well lights as well. And they're all tied into the dome light. I thought of making them 2 separate switches, but it doesn't matter. Like if we need the dome light, we might need the wheel well lights on, so they'll just be 1 switch. I'm trading out the DTH connection, or DTM Deutsch connections, with mil-spec connection. That's a 12 pin and it was maxed out. This is a 24 pin. So that will replace that, which ties into this on the relay. So that will get switched out with a mil-spec also with that. And it'll have a few open circuits. So if we need to add something later, we can. I will put in some spare wires in here on the entire loom. That way, in case we need to tap something in, we've got open circuits there that are capable of it. Everything in here right now is pretty much ran strand for strand. With the exception, poked you in the face with the stick, with the exception of this little loom here. And it provides power to the ECM and the race pack, and also a few sensors. I think there's 3 sensor circuits, excuse me, that require the this smaller gauge wire. What's it called? It's a special wire for sensors, low voltage, like 5 volts. You don't want to run a big wire like that for those. It could give you a false reading on your sensor because the resistance difference. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I'm waiting on a spool of that, new spool of that today. I ran it all, used it all on all these low voltage circuits. God, I'm having a heck of a time talking right now. Basically, I'm just waiting on some wire. And then I can finish that up today. It's literally 6 more strands, and then I can start tying all this together, concentrically twisting it. To do that, I use this little vise. It's kind of handy. I can clamp it wherever I need it. I'm going to start with this rear section of the truck right here. And I'll clamp my core, which I'm going to use the ground, the heavy ground. This is 10 gauge. I'll clamp it in there, and then I'll run it down, and I'll clamp it down here. That way it's like nice and taut, and then I'm capable, that allows me to twist and concentrically twist all the other wires around it. I'm using this bigger stuff because all of these little grounds are going to crimp into them as I go and branch off. And then that way to my star ground, I'll only have 1 wire instead of 20 ground wires going to it. And then also it creates that mass core in the center of the loom, which gives it some integrity. And I'm gonna concentrically twist the wires around it because it allows the wires to not be crimped. If it bends, it doesn't get pinched. They slide against each other, and it doesn't allow it to bend over and pinch itself. Anyway, I'm not explaining it very well, but it's just better. Yeah. And I don't have a whole lot of circuits on here, so it's just going to give it some thickness too, instead of just a super tiny little loom. If that makes any sense at all. Probably not. I'm confused myself right now. What is this? I don't even know what this is. I forgot. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. The wire should be here today, and then I can wrap that up, and I'll film a little bit of that if you want. Another thing that I decided to do is this switch panel. It's been a great switch panel. It's built really well. I got it from a friend. I don't know who built it, but whoever did, they did a good job. For its time, that was state of the art and really precision work. And like I said, it's worked great. But I'm not happy with it for this truck. Everything else is new. This wiring loom is going to be new. And integrating this new stuff into that is kind of tricky. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and got a Switch Pro, a pad, push pad control center. They're self-relayed, they're programmable, and a lot better than that. And it takes up a lot less real estate. So by getting rid of that huge switch panel and just putting in a small little Switch Pro, it frees up room that I can put my transmission fill and transmission dipstick on there. And I just don't have that big bulky thing, and it eliminates all of this spaghetti mess there, right? And it'll integrate into our relays super easy. I don't even have to use our relays if we don't want, because they come relayed, but I might as well since they're there and the circuits are already ran. And then along with that, I've never been happy, even though I just made that, I don't really like how that turned out. So I'm going to make that whole entire panel out of a piece of UHMW. I'm going to use a router and router out where the Switch Pro will go, and it'll recess in there, and it'll look super clean and a lot less cluttered. So another thing on the list, but that won't take me very long, and we can knock it out pretty fast. I'll just use that as a pattern. So anyway, I'm sure everything I just said, I'm sure none of it made any sense at all. But yeah, that's where I'm at. If the wire comes today, if it's not 1,000,000 degrees in the surface of the sun out here, I'll come out and I'll finish up that little bit of loom. And then, yeah, that's it. Lastly, there's a mil-spec connection there. I'm adding that to the other little loom that I got to do for the ECM. That way, that one plug can be disconnected, and it severs the engine loom from the rest of the truck. That way, if we want to pull the motor for whatever reason, or when we pull the motor, one twist lock of that mil-spec plug, and that entire engine loom goes with the motor. The rest of the loom stays in place. So just kind of a quick disconnect for the engine loom, separating it from the rest of the truck. So that's it. That's where I'm at. I'm rambling on. None of it's making sense, and I'm sweating to death. So yeah, let's keep going. I'll film more when I get going on this. Sorry.